Hi friends, welcome back to another video. As you can see from the title, this is a Q&A with yours truly, Dain Luca. Don't know why I did that. I'm in such a weird mood today. Today is the first time I've picked up the camera in 3 months and like actually spoke to the camera. It's so weird. Yeah, if you're new around here, my name is Dain. I left the UK a year ago. Apparently my accent's changed. Apparently I don't sound British anymore. I don't know. But yeah, I'm from England. I left on a one-way flight to Croatia last year. I ended up traveling Eastern Europe, a bit in the Middle East. We went to like Egypt and Jordan and stuff. Lived in Mexico for a few months. Then I flew to Sydney at the end of March. So I've been traveling for like the last year basically, and now I'm currently in Sydney, Australia. So welcome to my channel. And I will try not to talk that fast because I do get feedback sometimes that people can't understand me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's probably because I'm talking at 100 miles an hour. If you've never watched a Q&A before, it's pretty much like a question and answer. Like, I have a ton of questions, so I'm probably not gonna be able to include them all, but I will try my best. Just gonna pick a random question. Okay, what's this question? What do you miss the most about home and UK? So I'd say the thing I miss most about being in the UK is just being with my friends and family. I've definitely noticed I've not really been as close to them in the last year. Like you can, FaceTime friends and talk to them, but the time zones just really mess everything up, especially at the moment being in Australia. So Australia, there is a 9-hour time difference. I have a friend in Canada, it's like they're 17 hours behind I am. So it's always really difficult to try and find the perfect time to catch up. And as a result of that, I simply just do not speak to my friends and family as much. I probably FaceTime my family like a couple of times a month. I try and speak to my friends, as much as I can, but it's a case of I'm sleeping when they're all awake and I'm awake when they're sleeping, so it's just really hard. What else do I miss about? I miss Greg's. I want a Greg's sausage roll. Oh my God. So I miss my friends, family, I miss Greg's, and I just miss how easy it is to live in the UK. Like I think being as a British person, traveling the world and now living in Australia, just, you've always got those ties to home and everything is easy to sort out in the UK, but like just like paying bills or like when I need to speak to my credit card company or my bank account when things just go wrong, which they do all the time. It's just easier being in the UK because you like on the same time zone, you can like call them, and so I think that's one thing I miss about the UK. It's really easy to live in the UK as a British person. Okay, this person says, tell me about your job in Oz. So back home in the UK, I am a social worker. I don't think I've ever said that on this channel. It might be like a really random thing. So yeah, I work for social services back in the UK, which I absolutely love that job. I love doing that. So when I came to Oz, I was like, I hadn't worked in 10 months. So part of being a social worker is I need to like upkeep my skills. I'm completely normal like you guys. Like I'm working like a full-time job at the moment. So at the moment, I'm not necessarily working as a social worker. I'm working in a voluntary organisation, so a charity. I work with homeless people, helping them get access to housing, food, things like that. It's a really good job. I think the organisation I work for is amazing. They do incredible things, so I'm really happy where I'm working at the moment. This question, anywhere that you've travelled and wouldn't go back to? Okay, I want to say this is a interesting one because I absolutely loved my time here. I just found I didn't like who I was in this country, and that country is Egypt. The reason is because I found Egypt to be a really intense country to travel, even on a group tour. I'm so glad I did not do that on a solo trip because I would have flown out of that country. I would have been like, I'm done, see you later. Although travel is about, facing the challenges and being put in really difficult situations sometimes because, hey, we learn from those situations. I just found it to be incredibly challenging in terms of being hassled, followed, borderline stalks. Like, I could do a whole video about weird crap that happened to me in Egypt. I loved it there. It was so amazing and magical. Most of the people were nice. Like at the pyramids, for instance, that day, I had so much crap with the security about my camera. I got followed by so many guys with camels that would not leave me alone. So it was like, I had such a nice time there, but when you have people following you and chasing you and shouting you, like literally constantly, I was just irritated. I was so irritated a lot of the time. Even when I talk about Egypt, I get so annoyed because I'm like, I loved the country, but the people just irritated me so much, or they caused me to be irritated. So I'd say Egypt. I always say to people, even though I had like, I had a positive and negative experience in Egypt, I think everyone should go to Egypt at least once in their life. It's just a country I would not return to. If you want a story time, comment below. This is a good question. Oh, how do you finance all your travels if you're not working for many months? So this is a really complex answer because I'm just like everyone else. Like I was working a full-time job. So my story starts in 2018. Now I did a month backpacking trip in Thailand, and that is when I realized, oh my God, I want to travel the world for a year. So I saved for 18 months. I worked 2 jobs. I worked 60-hour weeks. I saved up, I think I saved up about £16,000 when I left the UK in January 2020. I traveled for 3 months. I didn't spend all that money. I think I spent maybe £7,000. So I had about 10 grand when I came back because of COVID. Like so much of my trip got cancelled. I cut my trip short by 9 months. And then I ended up coming back home, and then I ended up saving for another like 18 months. Obviously we were in lockdown, I couldn't spend any money. So I pretty much just lived off my savings. And to put it into perspective, before I went traveling, I was actually looking at buying a house. So I had enough money to put a deposit down on a house, but instead I was like, I want to take a year out and travel. Which I know some of you guys might think that's really irresponsible for a 28-year-old to spend a house deposit on traveling the world, but I would not regret it at all. I had the best time of my life and I would do it again. Buying a house isn't important to me right now. It is in a few years' time. But I was like, you know, my way of living is you can always earn money back. But my time on this planet, I cannot earn that back. You know, our clock is ticking. I want to make the most of it. What I want to do actually is I'm currently in the process of setting up my business. So I want to be able to earn money from anywhere I'm traveling, I suppose. I want to be earning like passive income. So I'm setting up things online and like selling stuff to enable me to travel, and then I can earn money whilst I'm traveling. That would be the dream, because so many people do it and I'm like, I'm trying to work out how to do it right now. So if you've got any tips, leave them below. Favorite country and most affordable country, hands down Mexico. Like I miss Mexico so much. I think in total I spent about 3 months in Mexico in the last year. I think it's a great country because it's beautiful. The people are so friendly. I found it personally to be a very safe country to travel. It's very affordable. You can eat meals and get accommodation for very cheap. And I just made so many friends in Mexico. Like it's such a good place to go as a solo travel, especially because it's such a big country that is very diverse. I definitely preferred the west side of Mexico as opposed to the east side. So like places like Cancun, Tulum, they were cool, but I loved Puerto Escondido and Oaxaca and Zipolite, all those places. So I definitely want to go back and spend a significant amount more time in Mexico. And I'd say that was probably one of the most affordable countries that I've traveled. Like you can live really well on like a budget per month. Okay, so this one's about YouTube. So someone has asked, what motivates you to keep up YouTube even when it gets hard / algorithm gets you down? So if you watch my chatty vlog, the previous vlog, you'll know that like YouTube definitely affects my mental health, and you probably wouldn't understand this unless you do YouTube. But essentially, you know, you've spent a lot of time making a video, you put it online, if no one watches it, you're like, wow, you kind of just feel like it wasn't a good video, or you feel like people don't want to watch your video. Personally, I've had some of my most boring, you know, non-interesting vlogs, they get the most views. I don't know why. Like vlogs that I filmed on an iPhone on a bus, I'm like, I don't know why people are watching that, because I uploaded it because it's part of the story, it's part of my journey. The worst feeling is when you've done an amazing video, you spend so much time on it and you're like, I love this video, it's gonna go viral, 10 views. And you're just like, oh. So I'd say what keeps me motivated is just knowing that it will be worth it in the long run, and also sharing this journey of me chasing my dreams of being a YouTuber, working online and traveling the world. You gotta take the good with the bad. So for instance, my Nicaragua series, it did really well. Like most of my videos nearly got 1,000 views. My California series, they got like 50 views. And I was like, that is a good example of, you know, it's not steady, like it's a roller coaster, but ultimately I see YouTube as a marathon, not a sprint. The devil is comparison for sure. You could see someone on YouTube maybe uploaded 10 videos, 1 million subscribers, I think I've uploaded like 160 videos and I've got just over 1,000 subscribers. So it's like, it's really different, and it's really just, I don't know, like YouTube is very confusing. I love it as a platform, but as a creator, it's very frustrating at times because you're constantly wondering, when should I post? What should I post? Is my thumbnail good? It's just really random. Like, I've seen people post like random silly videos, like really bad videos on really crap quality, and it gets millions of views, and I'm like, I'm using a camera, I'm using a drone. So I just don't understand YouTube, is the bottom line. But ultimately, I love creating videos, I love capturing memories, and I love sharing that with people. And I think for me, seeing a comment on a video that says, thank you for this, it's been really helpful for me, I'm really excited to go here, or someone commenting like, thank you for coming to my country, like it's so nice to, you know, see that. So yeah, I'd say what motivates me the most is just, I know it's gonna pay off one day. I know it's gonna pay off one day. It has to pay off one day. And I just love sharing my life with you guys. I love sharing it on camera, I love posting on YouTube, and just get the engagement that I get. That's probably what inspires me the most. The YouTube algorithm can... Okay, what other questions have we got? Top 5 places in Italy. So I haven't spent a great deal of time in Italy. I've been to like a lot of the main places, but I would say I don't think I've been to 5 places in Italy. So I'll just say my favorite place in Italy is Florence. I would love to live in Florence. Oh, okay, this one is a good question. I feel like I should do a finance video because a lot of people ask me about money. So how much would you recommend saving? So I say a ballpark figure is 1,000 to 1,500. That would per month, I would say. I've definitely spent a lot less than that. Like when I was traveling the Balkans last year, I think my first month I spent like £800–900. Like, it's very inexpensive to travel countries like that. But then countries like America, oh my god, it's so expensive. You need to budget like at least £2,000 a month. So I would say ballpark figure, like if you want to have a good time and make sure you're covered to do everything you want to do, I'd say £1,000 to £1,500 per month. If you're going on a 3-month trip, you would save maybe £4,500 and then some, because there was a lot of unexpected expenses which really threw my budget off. You know, just things happen, sickness happens, flights get cancelled, just anything is, I think you need a pot of money for like backup. I'll just say no more on that. I think I'm going to do a video about finance just to cover that. What's the SIM card situation when traveling to a country? So I have a really good phone plan back in the UK. I'm with 3. I'm on one of their unlimited plans, and I've been able to use my SIM card in most of the countries I've visited. Like normal, I think I get like 10 gig of data, but I always just prefer to get a local SIM card. So as soon as I get to a country, I'll go to a shop, I'll get like a Vodafone SIM card or a T-Mobile SIM card. I always ask the hostel where I'm staying or hotel which is the best SIM card to get, because you want really good coverage. I say more often than not, I've always gone with Vodafone just because Vodafone's been in a lot of countries. So yeah, and it's really inexpensive. Like most of the time I've been paying like £5 to £10 for my data usage. I normally just buy a data pack, or in Mexico, I got a Telcel SIM card. I would go to the shop and top that up like once every 2 weeks or once my data would run out. Some people just rely on the Wi-Fi. Personally, I like to have access to Google Maps. I like to be able to call restaurants and things, so I just prefer having a local SIM card. What's the 3 worst things about traveling? Good question. I would say not earning any money, being in really dodgy situations sometimes, and getting sick. Like, I never get sick back home, but I've had a few sort of sicknesses in the last year, and I think it's just inevitable. You know, you're tired all the time, you're in random countries eating random food. Sickness is gonna happen and you just have to embrace it. Budgeting and getting around Nicaragua and Costa Rica. So I found those countries really easy to get around. I use buses or private transfers for getting around both those countries. Nicaragua is a very inexpensive country to travel. I didn't really spend a lot of money when I was there. I was there for about 3 weeks. I spent about 2 weeks in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is really expensive compared to Nicaragua. Say if you're planning on going to one of those countries, definitely go to Nicaragua. It was my absolute favorite. Other place, I'm gonna take a sip of water because I've been talking a lot today. Are the places you visit spontaneous or planned a few months in advance? I would say a bit of both. Usually I have in mind like, okay, I want to be in this country in this month or whatever, But there has been a few times, like when I was in Eastern Europe, for instance, I was a bit burnt out of being in Eastern Europe. I was there for about 10 weeks, and then I made a friend who lived in Paris at the time, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fly to Paris next week and come and stay at yours for the week. So it can be pretty random, or if I hear on good recommendations. So the travel talk tour that I did, someone I met whilst traveling, they really had a good experience in Egypt, so I booked that like maybe 2 weeks before. Australia was very last minute. I only knew I was coming here like 2 or 3 weeks before I came. So I'd say more spontaneous, but I like it that way. Like I tend to just follow the universe and see what happens, because I think it's definitely not a good idea to plan your trip completely, because you might make friends or you might want to go meet people somewhere, and if you've got everything booked and paid for, you can't do that because you have to follow a set itinerary. I think I like to travel more spontaneously is what I'm trying to say. Okay, someone's asked travel essentials. I would say for me, earplugs for sure. Earplugs, camera, my backpack. I absolutely love my Wander to Provoke backpack. Other travel essentials, a quick dry towel because it's just easier. Always bring two, one for the beach, one for your hostel or hotel, and a water bottle. I miss this so much in Mexico, and I just think having a water bottle is good for the environment as well, and just being able to get in one of these chilly bottles so the water stays cool. That's definitely an essential for me. And the other essential, a bit of a bougie one, but noise cancelling headphones. I have Bose noise cancelling headphones. They've been amazing for long train rides, bus journeys, plane rides. Like, as soon as you put those bad boys on, you can't hear anything. It's just you and your Netflix show. Okay, I'm gonna end on this question because I feel like this Q&A is getting really long. Do you remember the moment you decided to find a way to travel full time? Tell us the story. So I think the moment that I decided I wanted to travel full time was when I was backpacking Thailand with one of my mates back in 2018. I just remember having my backpack. It was like this cheap 20 quid backpack from Amazon, and I've had barely any clothes in it. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. So me and my friend, we booked a hostel in Bangkok for like the first couple of nights. And I just remember we had the wildest time. We met so many amazing people. We saw so many cool things. And during that time, I met so many people that were like, yeah, I'm traveling for like 6 months or a year or 2 years. And I'm like, oh my God, people are doing that. I remember back then I was like, that is so unattainable. Like I never saved any money. I had a bit of like credit card debt when I left uni. So I was just like, oh, that seems really impossible. But from that moment, I was like, you have to do this. Like you have to travel full time, see the world, see what happens. So I did that. I saved for about 18 months, and I was just really, really strict with budgeting and money. I even cancelled things like Netflix. I never got takeaway coffee. I'd only do things like once a month. I saved every penny. I saved first, spent second. I saved quite a bit of money before, and then I remember when I went to go traveling in 2020, that was my big 1 year long trip. I only lasted 3 months because of COVID. Still had an amazing 3 months, but all my plans just went out the window because things kept changing. No one really knew what was going on at that time. That was like the start of the pandemic. So I came home after 3 months, and then I ended up saving even more money. So I'm kind of grateful that happened in a way, because I was able to save literally double what I bloody came with the first time. So it enabled me to actually travel a lot longer, travel full time. And I was like, I know when I go on this trip, I want to film and document my experiences when I'm away, because I think that everyone needs to travel at some point in their life, go and chase their dreams. And I wanted to share that with you guys, because I feel like so many people don't do it because they're scared about, you know, commitments, life back home, just leaving their home country. But I'm like, the bottom line is, if it all goes wrong, you can jump on a plane and fly back home. Like, that is the bottom line of it. But you've got to try. So I was like, yeah, I want to travel full time. I definitely loved traveling full time. It was amazing. I do miss it. But there's so many things that I didn't love about traveling full time. Just not having a home, always being tired, not being in like an exercise routine. I do like routine, but I also don't like routine. So I kind of want to be at a point in my life where I'm traveling for maybe half the year and then being at home half the year. I don't really have a home at the moment. I'm just living in Sydney at the moment. So yeah, that was the moment I decided to travel full time, is backpacking in Thailand with my mate. I was early 20s, had the best time. And I would recommend, if you ever need a country to start backpacking in, Thailand is the one, because it's just lit, you know, like it's just a great country to travel. So that is it for the Q&A. I hope that has been helpful. I hope you've been able to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, a few of your questions answered. I will probably do another one at some point down the line because I quite like Q&As. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, go follow me on all the social medias, and I will see you in the next video. So take care and peace out.